Okay, so we have started the recording. Ria, you may proceed.
Good evening, everyone. I, Riya Tohangar, student member of IEEE JSS 80 Noida student branch under EE department, welcome you all in the Arduino Plus Tinkercad webinar organized on the occasion of IEEE Day 2020. Before starting the webinar, I would like to thank the JSS ATN management, including our principal, Dr. GM Patil sir, IEEE coordinator, Dr. Sanjeeva Bisnoi sir, for their constant support. Also, I would like to thank HOD Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma for the same. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude towards our branch counselor, Mrs. Gunjan Varshne ma'am, for persistently aiding us in our events. Moving forward, I now call upon today's speaker, Mr. Syed Hassan Askari Rizvi, who is a third year student of Electronics and Communication Engineering in JSS ATN and the chairperson of IEEE JSS ATE Noida, to continue with the program. Let's hear from him. Over to you, Syed.
Thank you very much, Ria, for the charming, warm welcome. Okay, so participants, let's first confirm before beginning the webinar. Is my screen visible? Ria, can you please confirm?
Yes, Hassan.
Okay, I'll be changing the slide. I'll be changing the slide, and once the slide is being changed, please confirm the same. Uh,
Changed.
okay. Okay, so we are good to go. We are starting the webinar. Before we start the webinar, I should tell you what you will be expecting at the end of the webinar. You will gain some knowledge about C programming, how to program an Arduino board, how to make a project, and even how to make a project virtually. You don't have to buy physical Arduino. Okay, so we'll be doing that. The breakup of the webinar will be first 15 minutes. I'll be talking about the uh, C programming language, then a bit about the Arduino as well, 15 to 20 minutes for that, and rest maximum time for the half an hour. We'll be indulging ourselves on the virtual platform, which is Tinkercad. Okay. Second thing is from tomorrow, for the next 37 hours, we'll be having the hardware hackathon. You all are encouraged to please participate in the same. It will be the fun, learning, and very informative sorry, no, hackathon. And there will be exciting cash prizes. Okay. The registration fees is absolutely free for all, irrespective of their college. It is open for all Indian students. Okay, so all the participants who have joined us from even abroad. For the abroad participants, we are sorry, but all the Indian participants can attend that webinar. Okay, so we should not waste any more time and let's start. uh, okay, so as the trend go, here is my short bio. Okay, I am currently the chairperson of IEEE JSS 18 student branch. I was elected as the head boy and the vice head boy in class 11th and 12th in City Montessori School. City Montessori School is the Guinness World Record holder school in Lucknow. I hope many of you might be aware. I've been to NASA, Florida for the astronaut training program, and I've also attended fourth International Yoga Day at United Nations headquarters. Recently, my project on COVID-19 was selected for funding in whole of Asia, and that project was solely based on Arduino. Okay, so you know the power of Arduino, what Arduino is. So stick around. Okay, this will be the interesting webinar. I'll make sure that you don't get bored at all. Okay, I may be cracking jokes, so the point is to be interested, and we'll be learning. Okay, so let's start. Before we talk about Arduino, let's talk about a bit about C programming. Okay, C program, because C and C++ programming is the basic knowledge that you must have to start with Arduino. Okay, I'll not go into much detail because it will take more time. So let's talk 15 minutes about the programming languages. Okay, C programming language is basically the successor of B programming language. Okay, there was B programming language that was not much structured. Okay, then Bell Labs designed the Unix C, okay, Unix C programming language for general purpose programming, okay, and to design the middleware and to design the software for the hardware, okay. So C programming language was given birth. After that, from that till today, C programming language is the most important, one of the fastest and important programming language for everyone. Okay, be it computer science student, electronics, or even any other student who is interested for indulging himself in any sort of automation involving electronics or programming. Okay, so C is the basic language. C is a middleware language, as I told. Middleware means it is used to make firmwares. Firmware, I think many of you might be aware. Firmware is basically the program of other. Okay, the program which is not shown to me is a firmware for me. Okay, what is firmware? Firmware is designed for the hardware to work. Okay, if I want to communicate with the computer, there is a proper firmware or proper BIOS. Okay, which is functioning at the back. Okay, which is connecting me my external keyboard and all. Okay, so firmware is a software which is solely designed in C and C++. Okay, so C and C++ is a middleware language. So you know the power of the programming language. Okay, uh, many programmers are taught Java or C in the beginning only. They are not encouraged to start with Python because Python is such an easy language and it spoils you. So I hope many might be aware of how basic C programming is how C programming works. So we'll be focusing on just a recap. Okay, so this is the first basic C program. This will clear all the doubt. This is the first uh, example. Let's see what how it is working. Okay, line number one and line number two C is the comment, and to be specific, it is a multi-line comment. To in order to include the multi-line comment in a program, we use forward slash and a star. And after we have written all the comments, we end that comment section by putting star and then forward slash. Okay, so anything in between is considered as comment, and when the code is being compiled, that anything in that will be uh, ignored by the compiler. Okay, okay, before let's talk about what compiler and how machine learning code is being generated. Any any hardware that you will be using, be it any microprocessor, any microcontroller, your computer, your mobile, anything, there is a microprocessor or a microcontroller in that. And microprocessor and microcontroller doesn't understand hash, I, A, B, C, anything. It only works on 0 and 1. Okay, digital electronics. So whole of the code that you write is being converted into machine code. Okay, machine code is basically the combination of zeros and one, and that is fed into the microprocessor. Okay, microprocessor then understand that, and on the basis of what the inputs and what the code, what is being, what that want to convey, then the code is being processed. Okay, so all this code which is mentioned in front of you will be converted into the machine code ultimately, and then it will be fed, and the result will be coming from the Arduino or any microprocessor. It will be again machine level code, and then it will be converted, and then you will be seeing the output. Okay, so this is how any machine works. So okay, let's move forward. Hash include stdio.h. Okay, this is the standard C programming library that is used.
Excuse me, Hassan, your voice
Yes.
is breaking.
Okay, okay, okay. Am I audible and clear now?
Not as clear as before.
Okay, okay. Let me change my. I think there will be a delay. Let me change my. Okay, changed. Am I audible now? Hello. Can anyone please confirm that am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, we were on this line. Hash include stdio.h. This is the required library that we'll be using, and hash include is used to include the libraries. Okay, this library contains stdio. Okay, every line means everything. Every line has a meaning. Stdio means standard. std means standard input and output. This library has all the functions: int, scanf, printf, percentage d, and everything that you will be doing. Okay, there are other libraries as well, libraries such as string.h, and many more. Okay, for C programming language. And in the Arduino, we'll be seeing that there are tons and tons of libraries included for almost every sensor that help us. Okay, we don't have to write the embedded code for every sensor. We can use the library and its functionality in the correct way, and we can do the purpose. Okay. Uh, Let me again confirm. Is my voice still clear and audible?
Yes, Hassan, continue.
Okay, okay. Uh, Now, uh, then when we move forward, int main is a function. Okay, main is a function, and it is the main function. Basically, a main function is a must. Okay, there might be other function as well which you can code and you can program as per your instruction. But main function is required. Okay, one thing to note here is I'll be explaining in the functions also that it is not a void. Okay, it is not a void. It is an integer based function which will be returning in the end will be seeing it will be returning something. Okay, no, it's not a void. And the arguments are void. It is not accepting any argument. Okay, so we can also write main or void main also, but here if we have written int, there must be a return. Okay, we will see in the future. Let's see then. Int is a integer. Okay, there are other keywords as well, such as float, double, boolean, and char. Okay, so we'll stick with the integer. Int integer one, int integer two. Okay, and int sum will be used to sum the input from the user. The user will input two values, and we'll store the sum into this sum variable. Okay, let's see printf. What printf will do? It will interact with the outside world. Okay, it will show you what will be written here. I write first integer, okay, and then scanf. Scanf is the input. It is the input for the C programming language. We take input from the user or outside world via scanf and store it into the integer one. Okay, and same is for integer two. Accepting, displaying the message into the second integer and taking the input. Okay, and now we'll sum the integer one and integer two, and then we'll be displaying. As simple as that. Okay, so this was the basics of C programming language. Yes, I know that was the absurd way of explaining the code, because I'll not be wasting much time because we have a time constraint. So this was the basic C programming language, how it works, and this is the output. Okay, let's move forward. Let's see the working of if and else. Okay, there are three boxes you can see. This is a normal if condition, this is a nested, and this is a ladder. Okay, let's see how basic if function works first. Okay, we write if condition, and then we put curly braces, and inside there is a code block for that if condition. That code block will be according to your need. You can put anything in that. Yes, proper instruction and syntax wise. How it is work? We write if condition. Condition can be anything, arithmetic operation, anything. Just we have to see that the returning of this must be either true or false. Okay, so the condition can either be true or false. Ultimately, you can do anything. If a is equal to 3, if a was equal to 3, then the condition will be true. Else it will be false, and it will go to else. Any condition when it is true, the code will enter into this block, this coding block. Okay, and all the function that you have written will be run everything, and then it will exit, and it will not go to else. Okay, if the condition was true, it will not go to else. It will not see else as the program, and it will exit and go below what the program was doing. If the condition was false, it will not go into the if coding block, and then it will go to else, and it will enter the coding block for the else. Okay, if can and cannot have, may or may not have the else, but else without if is not possible. Okay, and else do not have any condition. Else is else. Okay, in the layman language we also say if this is happening, then we will do this. Nahi to we will be doing that. But in normal language we never include any condition in that nahi to. Okay, if anything apart from this will be happening, we will be doing ultimately that thing. Okay, so else doesn't have condition. Okay, we have to relate programming with the our original language, then only we'll find it easy. Okay, it is advised that you should do this. Let's see other. There is also the same. Okay, if this condition will be true, then it will enter into this, and some statement will be run. And again, we can have an if statement inside an if statement, and if the condition for that will be true, then it will enter this segment, and if not, then it will follow the it will ignore this, and it will go outside. Okay, and then if this condition was ultimately true, the first outside outermost if, then it will not see the else inside. Okay, but if there is a if, it can also have else inside it, and that if of condition 2 can have another if and another if, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay, so that depends upon you how you will be using. Let's give an example how when you will be using the this nested if. Okay, let's say you want to sort a list of students of class 12, uh, only male student whose house color is yellow. Okay, so there will be what will be the conditions. You will first check if they are the school student or the college student. Yes, a school student, then you will enter which class. If it is class 12, then you will enter again. There will be another statement whether they are girl or a boy. Then you will see. Then you will see which house. If yellow, then this, and then you will print all the student that will be under that category. So this is how you will be using the nested if. Okay? And this if statement, if else if ladder is depending upon you. If this condition matches, then do this. Else if that condition matches, then do this. Else if that, whenever there will be if, will it be with the else or not? There will be a condition. Okay, but alone else will not have any condition. Okay? I think I've made myself clear. Let's talk about loops. Loops are the basic programming language that every programming language needs, and it is a must for any serious programming, serious project. Okay, every serious project has the loops, and let's see how for loop and while loop works. We'll not be going into do while. Okay, we'll not be using anything in any program you for the do while. Okay, so let's see how for and while loop works. Okay, for loop has three arguments. Okay, for loop has three arguments. First is initialization, third is condition, and the second is condition, and third is operation. Let's see how it works, and everyone must concentrate here. Let me reconfirm it. Am I audible? Because this is the most important thing. Hello. Can anyone please confirm that I am audible?
Yes, Hassan, you're audible.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. I'll be prompting in between, okay, to reconfirm whether I am audible or not. So please, anyone can confirm it. Okay. Let's see how this for loop works. When for loop will be called, okay, programs was running, and it encounters for. It will first jump to initialization, and it will see what initializations are being done. Okay, it can be I is equal to 0 or any variable that we'll be using for the loop that will be seen if it is initialized. Okay, if it was previously initialized anywhere above. Okay, so this step can be skipped. Okay, this can be skipped, and it will go to condition. Okay, condition, then it will check the condition or what the arithmetic operation and all what sort of condition that you will be applying will be checked. And if it is true, it will enter. It will not go to operation. Right? No, it will enter. Okay. And once all the statements are be run, okay, it will return to operation, not here. Okay. It will return to operation. Okay. After operation, it will again go to condition, enter, then operation, enter, then operation, and then it will go on and on and on. Okay. The thing here is we can omit initialization and operation completely. Okay. Initialization can be done before for loop, and the operation can be done inside the statement. Okay. So this can be removed, but we have to put semicolon. Sorry, we have to put semicolon, two semicolon. We can leave this blank, then condition, then this blank. Okay, but we have to put two semicolons. We can also omit condition, but what this will do is the code will go infinitely. Okay, there will be no condition, and it will be considered as true, and it will run and run and run and run, and your computer might hang. Okay, ultimately. Let's see what is while. While loops works is very easiest. Okay, while just see the condition. Okay, you just provide the condition there, and if it is true, then it will enter, and it will go on, on and on and on until and unless the condition is false. Okay, you can use break statement inside the for or the while. It can break only are used in loops. Okay, and when the break statement is used, the loop in which the break was used. For example, if there was a while inside a while and inside a while, okay, while one, while two, and while three, there was a break inside while three. Then the while three loop will be broken. Okay, if any condition is met when break is encountered. Okay, not while one, not while two, the while three. If there was while condition here before after while one and while two, then this was encountered inside while one. Then while one will be while one will be eliminated. Okay, it will be terminated, and same is for the for. Okay, so we can use break and continue. Okay, let's see functions. As I told, function will be using in the Arduino. We'll be using lots and lots of functions, and it is advised that you make functions for everything that is being recurring. Like for example, if you are making an LFR, okay, the first project that a college student comes to college and do is LFR. Okay, LFR, what LFR will be doing at most. Okay, LFR will be going forward, backward, left, and right. Okay, many times. Okay, uh, so what we do is we make functions for every step, for forward, for backward, for right, and for left, even for stop. Okay, we make function, and what we do is we just if we want like when I encounter something and I go if I want to move backward, what I will do is I'll call the backward function. Okay, so functions make your code tidy, and you don't have to write uh, massive codes which will be used again and again. So functions do that for you. So functions are very important. Okay, functions can return something and cannot, and they can and cannot have arguments, which are also called args. Okay, arg1, arg2, and argn. Okay, okay, so depending upon the two functionality. Yes. Okay. So depending upon the two variations, we can have functions of four kinds, which will have return and also the argument. Okay, like we can see here, integer shows that it will be returning something. Okay, this is not the void function; it will be returning something, and it also has the arguments. Okay, arguments. What the arguments are? When we'll be calling the functions, we will be putting something like there are argument one and two. Say, okay, so we'll be putting two values inside the function calling, and we'll be specifying int a or carry. So if the argument is character, then it will only accept the character, and if it is integer and float, it will only accept integer or float. Okay, so we'll be mentioning here only, and arguments will be passed at the time of calling, and they will be used for pre-calculation inside. And once all the calculation are being done, the required calculation will be returned. Okay, and where the function was called. So when there will be a return, if function is returning something. So if I'm getting something, I have to store it somewhere. Okay, so we need a variable. Okay, we'll be requiring a variable to store it. So we will store it into that variable. Okay, so function with returns always require a variable to variable when they call, and if there is no return, then they are also called like that only. Function name caller. Okay, and the function is being called. Okay, so there will be function with return and arguments, with return and no arguments. Okay, there can be int and no arguments. So there will be no argument and there will be no return and arguments. Okay, so here it can be void function name and arguments. So it can be like that only also, and there can be functions with no return and no arguments. Uh, Maximum number of time, I think 40 to 50% of the time, functions are with no arguments and no return in Arduino. Okay? In Arduino, I'm not talking about the C and the project that have been done. So this was all about the C programming language. I hope some of you who have been familiarized have been recalled. They might have recalled what C programming is. So let's move towards Arduino. Okay, what is Arduino? Arduino is a microcontroller. Okay, okay. So in electronics, in basically digital electronics or devices, are there everything microcontroller? No, no. There are two things. Okay, so there are microcontroller and microprocessor. So now we are starting with Arduino, which is a microcontroller, and there must be a difference between a microcontroller and a microprocessor. Okay, so I think you might be the difference between the two are visible on the screen, and I think many of you might have seen it. Okay, I'll not be explaining every point. Just to give a brief is their microcontroller has the inbuilt, okay, inbuilt RAM, ROM, and everything. Okay, IO devices. Okay, but microprocessor has nothing like that. Okay, it has ALU registers. Okay, uh, so all the things are controlled by register there, and microcontroller has uh, all the RAM and ROM and input and output and other peripherals inside it. Okay, so bit microprocessor has advantage in its own places, and microcontroller has the advantages has its own places. Okay, so we can use microcontroller and microprocessor in a project, but we have to decide that decision is when you become a serious project developer. Okay, then you will decide, no, I need a microprocessor here or I need a microcontroller here. But if you are starting with electronics and you want to make serious project, then microcontroller is for you, because microprocessor are a bit difficult. Okay, a bit difficult to program. So microcontroller will be using microcontroller. There are bits and lots of microcontroller available. Okay, from Atmega, which is Arduino. Arduino is an Atmega based microcontroller. Then there is PIC. There are ARM microcontroller. Okay, ARM microcontroller, Raspberry Pi. Okay, Raspberry Pi. Basically, it is a SoC system of chip. Node MCU. It is also a microcontroller. It is a Wi-Fi based microcontroller, a bit powerful than Arduino. Okay, so there are many, and Arduino also has many microcontroller in itself. Many variations like Arduino Uno, which is the most basic and most used version. Okay, and it had its own family of Arduino Uno, like Arduino Nano and Arduino Mini. Then you have Arduino Mega, which has more functionality and more pins than Arduino Uno. And then we have Arduino LilyPad, which is used for wearable devices. Okay, we can use them for wearable devices. Okay, so let's see what Arduino is. What is Arduino? Okay, you might be asking, what is Arduino? Arduino is basically an open source prototyping platform. Okay? It is flexible to use, very easy to use as compared to microprocessor. Okay? Don't find it very difficult, because Arduino is a very easy language as compared to other, not a programming language. Arduino in all, Arduino all in all is very uh, Arduino all in all is very powerful and very easy thing, which you in a college learn. Every first year is also taught here in JSS. What are the basics of Arduino? So let's start. What is Arduino? Arduino is a microcontroller, as I told earlier. It is an open source electronic prototyping platform. It was designed in Averia Interaction Design Institute. Okay, so that is the historical part that you can easily find on internet. So now we're not going to waste any more time. Let's see about the specifications. Okay, specifications are must. Clock speed. Clock speed is 16 megahertz. If you can see my cursor, silver oval button like thing you can see here. It is the crystal oscillator, which is a 16 megahertz crystal oscillator. This gives clock speed to this Arduino Atmega 328P. Okay, you can see Atmega 328P. Everything has its own meaning. 80 is a company name, Mega is a design, and 328P is the name for the microprocessor. And this 328 also has a meaning. Okay, what meaning can it have? 328 means 32. The first two digits means the flash memory, 32 kilobyte of flash memory. Okay, you can see here also that it has 32 kilobyte of flash memory. Okay, and 8 is the processor bit. like your computer is maximum of the computer that you are using, laptops you are using are 64-bit. There are some 32 bits also. This is an 8-bit microcontroller based programming platform. Okay, so it is the 8-bit, and there is also a P in front of this, which means pico power, that it uses pico power. Okay, let's move forward. It has a 16 megahertz clock. Clock means in 1 second how many operations can be done. So 16 million operations can be done in 1 second. So you can understand how many operations are being done. Okay, your obviously your computer is much more powerful than this because it's being operated like my computer is operating at 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, so yes, 2.4 into 10 to the power 20 times per second, and it is 116 into 10 to the power 10. 10. Okay, so let's see. These are the specification. Okay, you can see. What we have to see is that it has EEPROM. EEPROM, electronically erasable random read-only memory, is of let me see. Okay, my screen is okay. Yes, EEPROM is of 1 kilobyte. Okay, and the flash memory is of 32 kilobyte. We can use EEPROM in some mediocre level or some advanced level program, but we'll not be using in today's at least webinar. Okay, okay. Let's see what Arduino is. Okay, this is the crystal oscillator that I told. Okay, this is the crystal oscillator. Here are the analog pins because there is a 10-bit ADC. Okay, 10-bit ADC is being there. ADC is analog to digital converter. All the signals which are being analog are being converted into digital. Digital is 0 and 1, and analog is anything in between 0 and 1. Okay, like if there, what is digital and analog? Okay, let's talk. Digital is simple, 0 or 1. Okay, but what is analog? Anything in between 0 and 1. 0.001, 0.002, 0.00, and millions of things. Okay, so analog is sort of complicated. Okay, we prefer everything is being converted into digital, and then we'll do the digital level uh, processing on it, and then we can use the project. So analog to digital converter ADC is being there. So there are six ADC pins, A0 to A5. We can use for analog functionality, both input and output. There are 13 digital pins also, six of which are PWM supporting. Okay, PWM is basically pulse width modulation. To understand it in a layman and in a precise manner, you can use this PWM pin to control the output voltages. Okay, control the output voltages from 0.5 to from 0 to 5. You can control anything in between. Okay, you can provide uh, what uh, what sort of output you want. Okay, so you can control the dim speed of the motor and all. So these are used for that. And there are I2C communication. This is very advanced level thing. Okay, I2C communication, serial UART communication. These are basically used for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Okay, RX and TX. This is the UART, universal synchronous and asynchronous receiver and transmitter, to UART. And then you can, if there is a clock involved, okay, then it becomes USART, universal synchronous and asynchronous uh, receiver and transmitter. Then there are some SDA pins also. There are I2C pins. Uh, these are also I2C pins. In some Arduino, this is missing. So A4 and A5 support I2C communication. And there is also one more communication, SPI. Okay, serial peripheral interface. So some pins 13, 10, and 9 have those functionality. We are not going into that. Okay. Uh, let's see what are the uses of Arduino. Okay, what's the time? Okay, we are running out of time. Uh, what is the uses of Arduino? The thing is, you have to question yourself. Okay, should you use Arduino or you should not use the Arduino in your project? Okay, if the project is, say, you want a button, and when it is pressed, the bulb should on. Using Arduino will be the joke. Okay, obviously it will be a joke because you can put the button and directly connect it to the device, and when you will be pressing, the circuit will complete, and the whole thing will work. So this will be a joke. But what if I say that you should design the same thing, but also if I press something from my phone, if I say, if I press the button, okay, then the whole thing will work. So this will be a joke. But what if I say that you should design the same thing, but also if I press something from my phone, if I say, if I press something from my phone, the whole thing will work. So this will be a joke. But what if I say that if I press some button on my phone, the LED should also turn on. Then you need a microcontroller, okay, who will first receive the signal and do the pre-processing and then do the output. Okay? So you should understand what Arduino is, how powerful it is, and where to use. Okay, some places you can also use some basic ICs, okay, which I will be talking because tomorrow the hackathon will be starting and there will be some projects based on the excuse me, based on the IC also, okay, which will be only done in IC. So you can also use IC if you want a blinking. Okay, you want the blinking, automatic blinking of the IC. You can use any 555 timer IC. Okay, so that can be done, and using Arduino, there is also a joke. So you have to know what are the uses of Arduino. Okay? Arduino is the brain of your project. If something, if any arithmetic operation or any logical operation is required in your project, then Arduino is used. Okay, so that was the use of Arduino. Let's get started with the programming. Okay. Like the C, it is also based on C. It is not the C language, but it is based on the C. Somewhat the C and C++ hybrid of the C++ and C. There are two main functions, void setup and void loop. Like there was a main function in C, there are two main functions in Arduino. Void loop is the main of the two, of these two, because in this you write the code that your project will be doing once the Arduino is being powered. Okay, and setup is the function which will be run only one time once the project once the power is being there. Like if I power the Arduino at this instant, and in the matter of around microseconds, okay, the first thing that will be run is the void setup, okay, and then once the void setup has been completed, the program will enter into void loop and it will never look back at void setup, okay. All the things that has been done into the void setup has been done, and it will not be looking, okay, will not be looking at that. Basically Arduino will not be looking at that. So we generally put something which has to be initialized, declared, uh, pre which has to be prepared before it must be running. So these are the things that uh, has been put, these are the things that is being put in setup, okay. And loop has the main function, main program, what your project is doing, okay. So these were the two functions, and what are the basic, some of the basic functions that you will be using every time, okay, in every project. Pin mode, okay. Treat Arduino as your child, okay. Treat Arduino as any small child, okay. A small child doesn't know anything, okay. A small child needs instructions for everything, to even to start, to walk, how it should walk. um, it will also need instruction that if the particular thing is eatable or not. Okay, so same wise is Arduino. Arduino needs every instruction at every moment. If you are using, okay, so you will be using Arduino in your project, and there will be outputs, some outputs peripherals and some input peripherals. You have to put tell Arduino that I'm okay. I am connecting this to this pin, say pin number 13, and this pin is now output. I want output from Arduino to this, and what can be that thing? Any LED, motor, anything. Okay, but your project might be involving sensors. Okay, sensors are what? Sensors sense the outside world and it tells the microcontroller this is happening, and then you should do anything that you want. Okay, so sensors are here the input, and say I have now connected my IR sensor at pin number 8. So I have to tell Arduino that yes, now pin number 8 is input. Okay, uh, if we will not be initializing the pin by the pin mode, okay, where M is case sensitive, okay, all the keywords are case sensitive, okay, P, I, everything is small except for M. So we have to tell that now what I have connected on pin 8 is input. And if we are not declaring and we are not telling the Arduino, it will ignore. It will not work. What will be doing? Okay. So we have to tell Arduino. So keep in mind when you are doing any project, if you are connecting anything on pin, first of all, what you should do is you should declare the pin. What is the function of the pin, input or output? Okay. There can be only two functions for a pin, either input or output. Reading and writing, okay. Reading digital and analog values both, okay. Digital write, Okay, now I want to write something. Okay, if I want to write something, what is the things that I need? Two of the things that I need is are place and what. Okay, if I want to write, say in a layman language, if I want to write A, so what are the two things are I need? A, a place where I can write and what I have to write, which is A. So likewise, digital Arduino also need two things, where and what. Okay, since we are writing digitally, digital as the name suggests. So what can be the two things? High or a low, zero or a one. Okay, you can also write zero in place of low and one in place of high. So okay, and now it is also case sensitive, not all small L capital, all must be uppercase. So in digital, right, we'll be using two, we'll be needing two things, which is what, which is pin number 13 here, and what, where, which is pin number 13, and what, which is low. Okay, so digital pin number 13 will get low. Same wise, digital pin number 13 will get high. Okay, okay, now if we want to read, if in your layman language, if we want to read, okay, we don't know what we want to read. Okay, if I want to read, say, Harry Potter book, I don't know the paragraphs. Okay, what we need is just the book. Okay, and then what is written there, we'll be understanding and getting. Okay, so in reading, we only need one thing, which is from where. Okay, so there are only one arguments for digital read, which is the place. I want to read the state of any pin, like say pin number two here. Okay, I want to see if whether the pin is high or low. Okay, we are talking about digital, so there it can also be zero or one, be it writing or reading. So we'll read if the pin two is high or low. Okay, and then if we are reading something, then we'll be getting. Okay, so we need a place to store. So there is a variable in which we'll be storing what is the state. Okay, button state where here. Okay. So this was the digital. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the analog also here. If we will be writing analog write, the same will be needing two things only, because write is a function. But instead of low, we can use any function, because there is a 10 bit. 2 to the power 10 is 1024. We can have anything in between 0 to 1023. Okay, we can have any value between 0 to 1023. And in place of writing also, we will be getting is an integer between 0 to 1023, and we'll be doing. Okay, and the function will be analog, all small. Analog will be small, not right. Okay, so we can do the analog writing also. What is analog and what is digital? I've told. Now what is ADC? Okay, analog to digital conversion. Analog is any instance. Okay, at any instance there will be a value between a place. From say instance, if a sine wave, it has a function. Okay, sine wave is an analogous function. So and it will be defined everywhere, continuous. It will be continuous range of values. Okay, from 0 to 5 volt, 0 0.5, 0.45, many an infinite number of numbers. But digital has only 0 or 1, and all the microcontrollers also also understands zeros and one. As I told, it's a machine level language. Okay, so we need anything conversion. Okay, so what ADC does is, okay, there are ADC. We are not getting into the details. R2R ladder, R2R ladder ADCs, and many. Okay, what is the basic is, we are having a input voltage which can be anything. There will be there will be output. There will be a reference, and it will be passed through ADC, and it will return the value depending upon the ADC. Okay, if there is an 8-bit ADC, okay, we are considering the PWM pin, then 2 to the power 8 is 256. We can get value between 2 and 55. Okay, there was a reference value of 5, reference voltage of 5 volt. We have passed 5 upon 5 into 256, sorry, 255 is 255. Okay, now we are the input is 2.5, so 2.5 upon 5. Okay, 2.5 upon 5 into 255, which is 1 by 2 into 255 is around 127. So we'll be getting 127. Okay, so between 0 and 5 we will be getting any value between 0 and 255, and depending upon that we can use it for computation. Okay, so Arduino has also the ADC. If you are using the analog side, which I showed in the earlier 6 pins on the right mode side, there is a 10-bit ADC, so we can have values between 0 and 1023. Okay, so if we are passing any input from 0 to 5 volt, and if the value is in between, we'll be getting the corresponding ADC value. Okay, so I have talked about this. Okay, reading analog values, same analog, right? Place and watt. Okay, not the high or low, place or watt. We can also write high also here. Okay, so it will be sending directly high signal, which is 250 in case of analog, which is 1023. Okay, and 0 in case low will be 0. Okay, 1023. I think I have made myself clear. Okay. Let's see this example in we'll be writing this program. Okay, we'll be writing. We'll be now we are going to get practical. Okay, I think we have time. We don't have more time. Okay, we have to wrap up in 20 minutes. Okay, so let's talk what are sensors, and then we'll be going practical. Sensors and actuators. Sensors are basically what we are getting from outside world to the microcontroller, and actuators are basically anything that Arduino microcontroller does to move. Okay, actuators here can be motors, DC motor. Okay, this is a DC motor. It can be BLDC motor, which are used in quadcopters. Okay, all the drones. It can also be stepper motors. Okay, micro stepping motors, anything. So my motors can be considered here as actuators. So we can be, we'll be having actuators and sensors. We'll be using them. Okay. Okay. Now let's simulate. See this window carefully for 10 seconds. We will be using liquid crystal display LCD as our. We'll be getting back to this. First, see the pins. Okay, it has pins. I'm exiting. Oh, no, 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 no. Thank you. First, I will be showing you. I'm stopping the presentation. I'll be presenting my whole screen. Okay. So, okay. A brief input from you all. Am I audible?
Yes, Hassan, you're audible.
Okay. Now, my question to participants: is this boring? Was this boring? Sorry. Okay, no problem. I'll take this as no. Okay. If this was boring, you should have prompted. So I'll take that as no. Please confirm that my whole screen is being visible, being shown. Okay.
Yes, Hassan, it is
Okay.
visible.
Okay, Ria. So now we are going to see the real action. Okay. I'll be wrapping up in 20 minutes. Okay. In the interim, after 10 minutes you will be getting the feedback form. Okay, so you have to fill that feedback form in order to get the certificate, and once you will fill the feedback form, you will get the certificate instantly. You can go and check your mail, but it is advised to please stick around, as tomorrow is the hackathon, so uh, this will be good for you. Okay, so let's see the example. Okay. uh, okay, first, as I promised you, let's see LCD in action. Okay, to make it more easy and more less time consuming, I have uh, excuse me, I have circuit. I have already attached all the wires and all the peripherals. So all the peripherals I'll be talking, but that would be time consuming if I was doing. Here is what I have connected. Okay. Uh, LCD. These are the LCD pins, and these are the Arduino pins. Okay. Let me first give you a brief introduction how LCD. Okay, and believe me, you will be getting this. You will be getting this information. I don't think you might have heard. Okay, what I am going to tell you. Okay, you might have attended many workshops, and you have seen that this is a LCD and it has some 12 pins, and now we have to connect that pins to this displays. Okay, mind it is very easy and very basic. You don't have to mug up the uh, where you have connected these pins, okay, like 12, then 11, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we used to mug up that. Okay, so no, I have not used any. We have used 12, 11, and then 7, 6, 5, 4. So we'll be talking about that also. So yes, let's give you a fact which many might of you are unaware of. Okay. Okay, first pin and second pin are the power pins, ground and VCC, which are connected to ground, and VCC is being connected to 5 volt. Okay. Uh, the next pin is VO, which is a Viper pin, Viper or a contrast pin. Okay. Contrast pin basically does is it controls the backlight. Okay, backlight contrasts. Okay, now here what we are using the functionality of pulse width modulation. As I told anything in between 0 to 5 volt. So we can control the contrast via our what you say microcontroller. Okay, we can also use we can also use register, variable register, to control the voltages. So that will also serve the purpose. Okay, so this is the Viper pin. Next pin is RS pin. Okay, RS, which is also called register select. Okay, uh, I'll be explaining what register select is. See, uh, this LCD also has one HTC, okay, HTC chip, okay, inbuilt, which is getting data from the microcontroller, and these are the data pins 0 to 7, 8 bit, because in 1 byte there are 8 bits. Okay, so 8-bit data is being coming. Okay, we can send all the data at once, or because the pins will be used, we can use the 4 pins at a time, which is also called the MSB first or LSB first. We'll be using the MSB first. Okay, uh, so I'll be talking about that. We are getting data. Okay, but for the LCD, there are two things. The data coming can be a command, or uh, can be a data. Okay, but there is no way to differentiate it. Okay, if I'm sending 0xFF, okay, 0xFF can be 256. 0xFF can be a command also, and can be a data also at the same time. But there is no way to understand. And also, to operate the LCD, we need commands. Okay, the commands such as print here. Okay, now move to next line. Now do this. Okay, now blink. So these are commands. So what RS does is register select. What it does is, when it will be getting 0, then it is for sure the data, and when it is getting 1, it is the command. Okay, when RS pin is high. Okay, so at that time the LCD understand that the data that I'm coming is a command, and then it is converted into the command list, and the command that is being used is being performed. Okay, and now at the second instant, now it gets 0. Okay, so now RS knows, now the LCD knows that the data I'm getting is a data which needs to be printed. So RS is used for that, and we can connect it anywhere. Okay, on Arduino, and you can. I'll be telling you how to manage that also. RW. Okay, RW is read and write. Uh, if the read write. Okay, if the this pin RW pin is high. Okay, so this will be reading. This will not be writing on the LCD. And who reads from LCD? Okay, you only understand what LCD is not an input device. Okay, it will not be getting any input. What you will be writing can ultimately be read. So this is a waste of time if you are reading something from it. So we generally connect it to 0. Okay, to ground. So we'll be using LCD to write, not the input. Okay. Okay, next pin is enable, which the name suggests, it enables the LCD. When it is high, then then the LCD is high, well, enabled, and if it is low, then the LCD will not be working. So E is enable, and D0 to D7 are the 8 bits, 8 bits which can be used for data or the command. Okay, but if we are using all the 8 pins, will it be ergonomic and economical for the Arduino? No, we will be wasting eight what you say pins. Instead, we can be using 4 pins. Okay, 4 pins in MSB mode. We can also use 2 pins, but you have to write the program. You have to write your own library, because there is no such library available, because that will be more complicated. What we can do is, if the data is coming, we can break that data into two parts. Okay, uh, prior it was coming 8-bit data, Now we have broken that data into two parts, the MSB and LSB. First, what it will do is the LSB will be fed, or either the MSB. He knows what will be fed because the program is doing. Here we'll be using MSB first. Okay, MSB will be fed, and then we can do what you say is bit calculations, and we can shift and then make the room for the next data, and the next data is being fed. Okay, and now we have the whole data which can now be used. Okay, so this is how we will be communicating. We will be using 4 pins only. You don't have to have much worry about this at this moment if you are using LCD. But this is basically for those who are into embedded programming. Okay, in embedded programming, you have to write your own. You have to write your own code. You have to write your own embedded code. Okay, what we'll be using is we'll be using the uppermost, the higher bits, D4, D5, D6, and D7, and we'll be connecting to 6, 7, and 4, 6, 7, 7, 6, sorry, 7, 6, 5, and 4. Okay, we'll be connecting that to Arduino. We'll be seeing E is anode. Anode, as the name suggests, it is connected to 5 volt, but not ultimately 5 volt. There must be a current limiting resistance. Okay, in between, it is advised. And K is cathode, which is connected to ground. Let's see. Let's see. These two pins are power pins. Okay. Okay. This was the Viper pin, which is also the contrast pin, and it is connected to ground. Okay. We are connected to ground. I have connected a resistor of around 1 kilo ohm. Okay. 1 kilo ohm, and we'll see if it will work. Okay. Let's see 1 ohm only. You can either use or not. That just depend upon you. Okay, next pin was RS register select. Okay, register select I have connected to pin number 12. Okay, pin number 12, and same wise after that register select. Okay, read and write. What we are going to do is write, and then if in order to do write, what we have to do is to connect to ground. So we have ultimately connected it to ground. Okay, here is one ground. You can see ground, and then there is a enable pin. Okay, enable pin is being connected to pin number 11. And then, as I told you, D number 4, yes, this is D4, is connected to 7, and so on to 7654. Okay, and yes, now A, anode. Okay, anode. Okay, anode. This is the backlight. LED anode. This is the power for the backlight. This was the power for Arduino for the crystals in front. This is the power for the backlight. Okay, this is connected to 5 volt, but in place we have to put a current limiting resistor of 1 kilo ohm almost. Okay, so in order to limit the current. Okay, because the LED backlight will take all the current. Okay, drive all the current, and it might blow up. Sorry, what my English is. Cathode is being connected to ground, as I have told. Okay, now let's see the. Yes, it is working. Okay, simulation. Arduino LCD tutorial. Okay, we'll be understanding the code as well. Okay, which is very easy. Okay, very, very easy. Okay, let's see the code. We are going to use Arduino Liquid Crystal library. Okay, I've told you how to include the library in C programming language. We are including the C programming language, like C programming language. We are including the Liquid Crystal library. It has its own function, like Liquid Crystal, which makes the class the instance. Okay, it has LCD.begin and all sort of thing that are being involved. Okay, so you might be seeing that I'm not using any pin mode here. Okay, I'm not doing any pin mode. That has already been done into this library. Okay, if we are writing any code by ourselves, okay, we are not including any library, then we have to do that. Okay, you can go and check for the liquidcrystal.h library on the internet. You can find the source code or the library code, and you will find that it has been done. Okay, already. After including, what we have to do is we have to use liquid crystal keyword to make the class, the instance of LCD, named LCD. Okay, and now anything that we will be interacting with the LCD, we have to use this word LCD. You can put your name also. Okay, you can put Hassan also, Hassan. Okay, but I have to change here Hassan dot. Okay, so let it be LCD only. It looks good when it's LCD. Okay, so LCD, we have made a class, and what now we what we these are the arguments. Okay, what we give arguments, all the arguments are sequential. Okay, first argument is register select. You have connected the register select pin on pin number 12. If you have connected it on pin number 1, no problem, you have to just pass 1. Okay, then we have to pass enable. Okay, I have connected pin number enable pin to pin number 11, so I have passed 11. If I have connected it to 9, what I have to pass? Pin number 9. Okay, then I have passed. Then we have to pass D4, D5, D6, and D7. I have connected D4 to D7 to 7 to 4, so I have passed the same. And if you want, like you have made a project and you want the LCD display, okay, but now you want what you see is that all the pins are occupied as per the code given. But now what you have to do, you have only the pins, or you have only these pins left. So no problem, you connect all the pins there and just pass the pin you have connected RS2 and enable to and so on, some in a sequential manner into this what you say instance, and the LCD will be created. So no need to worry, okay, that on the internet there is program available which uses RS2 pin number 13 and all, and now my project doesn't have that. No problem, connect to another and just pass. Okay, so I have created the LCD what LCD instance. Now what we do is void setup. Void setup is used to run only once. Okay. So what we'll do is LCD.begin. We have initialized this. We have initialized. Okay. LCD.begin. What it will do is it will begin the function, and here we have to pass two arguments, which is the column and rows. Okay. Column and rows. Uh, for operation, we always perform row first and column, and for input or for interacting in the program, we always put first column and then row. Okay, so this is 16 cross 2. 16. There are 16 columns and 2 rows. If you can see, let it illuminate. You can see there are 16 columns. Okay, if you count one by one, there are 16 columns and there are 2 rows. Okay, so we pass these two arguments. There can be 20 cross 4 also. There is available. You will have to pass 20 comma 4 then. Okay, so depending upon the availability of your LCD, you can pass the codes. Okay, so I pass 16 comma 2, which is the 16 cross 2, and then LCD has been begun. We can use the LCD functionality to print on the LCD. What we have to do is we have to specify from which location we have to start. By default, it is 0 comma 0. Okay, 0 means 0th column and 0th row. Okay, so it will print from here only 0th column and 0th row. But what we can do is we can also change. Let's change. Okay, let's change that LCD dot set cursor, and S is small, C is capital cursor. These are all case sensitive. Okay, we can specify, and what we first specify is column. I want to start from what you say, anything, fourth column and fourth column. Okay, fourth column and 0th row. Okay, 0th row. Now let's see what will happen. Okay, now the Arduino will be printed from 0th column. Sorry, I missed this semicolon. Okay, you have to be careful while programming. So you see, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4th. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4th. Okay. So number starts from 0. Okay. 4th, sorry. 0, sorry. 0. Now you can see that Arduino is somewhat in the middle and it's look good. Okay. So you have to control from where you have to start printing, and then what you have to print. The keyword is lcd.print. Okay. There is no print ln. There is only print. Same is done here also. Now we are printing it from the column number 2 and row number 1. Row number 1 is second because the counting starts from 0. Okay. So what it is being printed? This. Let's print something good. Let's see what will happen. Yay! Okay. You can see I have put five almost. Yes, five. But three are being printed because I am out of space. Okay. This can only have 16. 16. Okay. This can have only 16 characters because there are 16 columns. Okay. If I write my whole name, sorry, if I write my whole name, which is I think around 20 characters long, what am I writing? Okay, so if I run it, my whole name will not be printed. Okay, only till R, I think. Okay, A, K, will be printed. Okay, let's make it 0. So you can see my name is being printed till R, okay, R, and then I and whole of the Rizvi is being missing, okay. So since it is only 20, sorry, 16 character long, so we can use only 16 character in a print statement, okay. Rest will be omitted, okay. So let's get back to, yes. Okay, so this was the basics of Arduino LCD, okay. Yes, I have 10 more minutes. I'm taking 10 more minutes. In that, I'll be explaining. There are many functions. You just have to, okay, you just have to, where are these functions? Okay, I have also not learned it by birth or anyone has taught me. What I do is LCD liquid crystal dot h. This is the name of the file. Okay, why is A here? Okay, so I'll write the name of the library, and there the Arduino playground will open, and where there we can find all the available functions and functionality. Okay, we can see lcd.setCursor. Okay, yeah, lcd.blink. Let's see what is lcd.setCursor. Okay, it will explain how we have to use. You can use Tinkercad is free. You can go and I advise that you should sign up now, and you can play around. Okay, nothing will cost you, and you will love. Okay, let's see. lcd.setCursor syntax is lcd.setCursor, and the first thing is column, and second thing is row. And they have explained lcd is the variable of liquid crystal which you have made. Okay, lcd dot. If you have made the variable as Hassan or your name or anything, then you have to put that here dot set cursor. Okay, and the arguments are column and row, which are column and row starting from 0. So everything is being well documented on the that page. Okay, so it is advised that you visit this page and you can see anything. Okay, left to right, right to left, anything. You can scroll also. Okay, you can scroll. This need for loop also, for loop. Okay, so you can play around. All it is depending upon you. But the point is that you will be using this project tomorrow if you are participating, which is advised that you should participate in the hackathon. This will be the easy hackathon. So you can see I have made a big project. Okay, let me show you this project. Okay, this is some good level project that you can see I have made in Tinkercad. Let's see the working, and I think that will excite you all. Okay, so these all can be made in Tinkercad, and if you are able to make in Tinkercad, you can easily make it in real world. Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, so let's see what is the working. I think that I have shared the audio. This is the project hydroponics, which was made by us in a team. Okay, and what we are going to do is uh, okay, yes, there are sensors. Okay, these are sensors. This is a sensor. This is a sensor. You can use all sort of sensors here. Like the sensor is here for gas. You can see the CO2 volume here. Okay, it's 85. If I will go closer, if this cloud gets closer, which increases the CO2 levels, it will start. And I think you can hear it. Okay. Uh, can anyone please confirm that you are able to hear the buzzer?
Yes, Hassan, it is audible.
Okay. And once it is okay, so this is some good code, some good project. You can control the intensity of yeah. See, you can concentrate on here, concentrate here, concentrate on these LEDs. I think they are very dim. If I will, I think you might be able to see that it got illuminated. Okay, so depending upon the input value of this light dependent resistor, we can dim or we can set the brightness. Okay, this is the temperature sensor, and once it is sensing that the temperature is too high, the cooling fan, which is this, is being turned on. Okay, and sorry, cooling fan is this. Okay, so this is being turned on, this is running ultimately. Okay, so we can see, we can also control the I think mm, you can see, as I told you, this is the contrast. Okay, I can control the contrast of the backlight. Okay, you can see, I think. Okay, let me put that to 1 kilo ohm and then start. Okay, now you can see I can control much more. Okay, so yes, these are functionalities that we'll be using, and not only this. Okay, Tinkercad is a good platform. Okay, Tinkercad is a good platform for electronics enthusiasts. Those who are starting with the projects such as basic as this. Okay, as I told you, if you want to blink an IC, you can use any 555 timer IC, and that will also serve the purpose. And there is no need of attaching that Arduino. Okay, so let's see it into action. Okay, this is blinking. Okay, what we are using is just this NE555 timer IC, and it is blinking. We can just control the blinking. Like, okay, let's control like 47. If I use it to 60 microfarad, let's see the blinking will. Okay, okay, you can see the blinking has been affected. If somewhat I do it to say 30 or 25, now see. Okay, so you can control it also. There is nothing. It is also a formula based thing. There is a formula to calculate this blinking, and there are plethora of things that are available on Tinkercad. Okay, let's have a look from capacitor, diodes, inductors to push buttons, resistors, and sensors such as ultrasonic sensor, PIR sensor, tilt sensor, temperature sensor, and gas sensor, which I showed you. Outputs such as LEDs, NeoPixel LEDs, light bulb, which is being showed here. Okay, and actuators such as DC encoded motors, DC geared motors, micro servos, and geared motors and servo. Okay, and piezoelectric motors. So you can use those also. LED segment also you can play around with this. Okay, there are ICs also available. I think all the third years who have joined, or any second year who has done the practical for their DLD or DSD, what this is, you might be recalling that these are the ICs that you use, 7400, 7402. These are the basic gates ICs. So you can play around with this also. Okay, there are many ICs available here. This is the 7 segment decoder. You can use this to control this. Okay, 7 segment. So the thing is that Tinkercad is a good platform for learning things and without investing any money. So it is advised that you should uh, make the what you say, make account on this. Okay, it's free. And having said that, we have come to the end of the webinar. Okay, and yes, please, before I start with the question and answer session, okay, it is advised that please you should register for tomorrow's event. Okay, that will be the good event. Okay, it will be hackathon. Okay, 36-hour long hackathon, and all the rules and regulation will be mentioned. And the link to that group will be presented after the webinar. I will put up on that group, and you should join that group and participate. Okay. Okay, now we have came to the end of the webinar. Let me stop sharing. And over to you, Ria, again for question and answer session. Any query and questions? Okay, I think uh, you might have. I think I was a good instructor that I have cleared all your doubts. Okay, no problem. The group is still there. You can ask your queries there also, and I'll be there to help you every time. Let me stop the recording. Also, please fill the